In the high-speed chaos of the modern world, our bodies are often locked in a state of perpetual emergency. We live in a biological paradox where the stress of a morning commute or a demanding email triggers the same fight or flight response that our ancestors used to escape physical predators. This constant activation floods our system with cortisol, the primary stress hormone, which, over time, acts like acid on our cardiovascular health. But what if the solution to this modern physiological crisis is actually an ancient spiritual discipline? At Faith Cycle, we believe that the intersection of science and scripture reveals a profound truth. Biblical meditation is not just a practice for the soul, it is a biological necessity for the heart. To understand how this works, we have to look at the mechanism of the human heart. Your heart is not just a pump. It is a highly sensitive organ that responds to every thought and emotion. Science measures this through heart rate variability, or HRV. When we are stressed or anxious, our heart rate becomes jagged and irregular. Chronic stress keeps cortisol levels elevated, leading to high blood pressure, arterial inflammation, and an increased risk of heart disease. It is here that the ancient practice of intentional, prayerful stillness enters as a clinical intervention. The Bible does not merely suggest meditation as a hobby. It commands it as a form of renewal. When we engage in rhythmic biblical meditation, the act of slowly repeating and pondering a specific scripture, we are performing a biological reset. As you sit in quietness and focus on a promise like, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," your breathing naturally slows down. This rhythmic breathing sends a direct signal to the vagus nerve, which is the reset button for your parasympathetic nervous system. As the vagus nerve is stimulated, it tells your adrenal glands to stop the production of cortisol. Dr. Grover's clinical research into the physiology of prayer suggests that when a person focuses on the character of God, specifically His peace and sovereignty, the brain's frontal lobe activates while the amygdala, the fear center of the brain, begins to quiet down. This shift is significant because the amygdala is what triggers the cortisol spike. By intentionally choosing a thought of divine peace over a thought of worldly worry, you are literally changing your internal chemistry. You are moving from a state of survival to a state of restoration. Imagine your heart as a garden that has been weathered by a long drought of stress. Rhythmic meditation is the steady, gentle rain that restores the soil. When we meditate on Scripture, we aren't just clearing our minds. We are filling them with specific truths that counteract the lies of anxiety. The science of neuroplasticity tells us that our brains are constantly being rewired by our thoughts. If we spend our day dwelling on problems, we wire our bodies for stress. If we spend our time in the stillness of God's presence, meditating on His Word, we wire our bodies for peace. This isn't just a feeling. It is reflected in lower blood pressure readings and a more stable, resilient heart rate. At Faith Cycle, we see this as the physiological gap finally being bridged. For centuries, believers have spoken of the peace that surpasses all understanding. And now, modern cardiology is helping us see exactly where that peace resides in our physiology. Intentional stillness functions as a biological reset. It lowers the systemic inflammation caused by stress and allows the heart to beat in a state of coherence. As you watch the natural imagery of the world around you, the steady flow of a river or the unshakable strength of a mountain, remember that your body was designed for that same kind of rhythmic stability. You were not created to live in a permanent state of high cortisol. You were created for communion. When you take 10 minutes each morning to sit in prayerful silence, focusing deeply on a single verse of Scripture, you are doing more than a spiritual exercise. You are providing your heart with the cardiovascular medicine it needs to thrive. The transformation starts with the decision to be still. In that stillness, the ancient spiritual discipline of meditation becomes a modern medical necessity. We invite you to join us in this practice. Don't just read the Word. Let it breathe through you. Let the rhythm of God's promises stabilize your heart, lower your stress, and bring your entire biological system back into alignment with the Creator's design. This is the Faith Cycle, where ancient wisdom meets modern health, and where your heart finds its true rest.